here with you today to celebrate Wendell Hoover as our Robert D. Hanson Award winner and also talk about Bob Hanson. So before we get to Wendell, I am going to take a few minutes and talk to all of you about the man, Robert D. Hanson, for whom the award is named. As you all know, Bob was a long-term member of this club. He was former president of the club in 1978 and 79, and he loved Rotary and all it did for the world. He knew that it was far more than just our local area, and he went to many international conferences and met many people from across the world. And he and his wife traveled all over the world as well. He was a dear friend to many of us and a wonderful human being. I'm just curious how many of you remember him. Could you just raise your hand? Oh, great. I'm so happy to see some of you. I'm sure you'll agree. He made an impact on you whenever you met him. There is his picture that we have of him. I took that of him probably about maybe 10 years before his passing. And I think it was taken right here at the club. What is this? Oh, okay, that's all I have. So a little bit about Bob. He grew up on the campus of Gettysburg College, as his father was the president of Gettysburg College for 32 years. So Bob not only grew up there, but he attended Gettysburg College for his undergraduate, and he was a summa cum laude graduate of Gettysburg College, and he was a member of Phi Beta Kappa there. He was a 1942 graduate of Dickinson Law School in Carlisle, and he was admitted to practice law before the Dauphin County Courts, the Superior Court of Pennsylvania, Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, the U.S. District Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, and other commissions and governmental bodies. He was also solicitor of Dauphin County, solicitor of the Redevelopment Authority of Dauphin County, general counsel to the Harris Savings Association for 40 years, general counsel to the Credit Bureau of Harrisburg for 35 years. And when he wasn't doing all of that, he was busy with charities. He was given the Tocqueville Award in 1991, which was the very first one awarded by the National United Way of America. And he told me one time that of all his awards and everything that he did, Rotary was his favorite organization. His military service included the ranks of second lieutenant to major in the infantry of the U.S. Army. He was a member of General George Patton's army and lived through many battles, Battle of the Bulge, D-Day, and so much more. And I think the thing that really got to him the most was that his platoon was the very first one to open the gates of Auschwitz. And they had to, of course, see everything that was there and be the first ones to go in and start getting the folks who were still living out of there and dealing with everything else that they had to do. And though he didn't talk about it that often, he said that it was clearly more than any human being should ever have to see or experience. It was just terrible. So all these experiences made him the man that he was and formed his overall wish to benefit his community in the way that he and his wife did for years in giving to charities. He told me that since they didn't have children, the nonprofits in the area were their children, to support them and see them grow. He passed away in July of 2006, and his wife had preceded him in death 12 years before that. I was privileged, as so many of us were in the club, to know Bob. He was really a true gentleman. He truly loved Rotary and lived a life of the four-way test every day. In Rotary, Bob was the first to lead the Rotary Club of Harrisburg in 1999 to the strategic planning process when President Joe Sutliff asked him to step up to the role. We were the first club in Rotary District 7390 to do a strategic planning process, and we did it well, we were told. He addressed the club about the importance of the plan, something we had never done before, and helped us to organize the first committee, which was comprised of all the committee chairs, members of the board, and members in leadership. And maybe that's the way it still is. Did you say? He also created a process where our board would visit the boards of the York and Lancaster clubs, because the three of us are the largest clubs in our district. We exchange ideas and ask questions of each other, and it proved to be a great process for us to plan for the growth of the club, learning from each other and working with each other at that time. He also decided that he should help people stepping into the president's role to grow by listening and helping them to better understand the role because he knew it was an important one. He had served it himself. He started to meet with incoming presidents to help them learn important things about the office of the president of Rotary and understand the nature and the work of the club, as he put it. He had been a member of the club for many years and served as president in 78 and 79. He always talked about the benefit of getting people interested in the same thing around the table to learn together. So the year before my presidency, the two of us would meet. And then after a few months, he invited the current president of the club to join us. And then we added more people coming into the role as time went by. The group grew to about 7 or 8, and sometimes more, with Linda Friedenberg, who was in Adeline's role with us at that time. We always met at lunch. He always felt that people learned more when they were eating, when food was involved. And so he always insisted on sitting back and watching and listening to what we were talking about, and then always paying the bill. So with those meetings, he created a process that still goes on today within this club. And I think it's one of the few clubs that do this. Every year we add a new person who will be in line for the presidency, and that person may choose a mentor, a past president as a mentor to join the group. For those of you who were a member of the Hanson Lunch Committee, I'm sure you would agree it was a great experience to be involved in. And I'm just curious, how many of you were in that process? Could you raise your hand? I know Steve was. Great. There were many more who aren't here today, but I'm happy that you're here. As time went by, he believed in the process so much that he came to me one day and said he wanted to start a fund at the foundation for enhancing communities to make sure that the lunches were paid for a few years after his passing, because he just wanted to keep the group going. He told me he wanted to be sure that we kept it going and asked me to make sure the money was spent only for food. Food, as I said, brings people together. And when he passed away, of course, it was a very sad day for all of us. But though he's gone and all of his funds that he gave in that fund are all gone now, I'm pleased to tell you that the Hanson Lunch Committee still meets on a monthly basis, and sometimes less than that, depending on the current president, as a mentoring group to the current and upcoming leaders in the Rotary Club of Harrisburg to discuss Rotary matters that are ongoing and planning new things. All of us make contributions into the Hanson Fund at the foundation to pay for those lunches. We always meet at lunchtime or breakfast, depending, and we always remember Bob and his wonderful and kind efforts to keep us all working together. The group consists now of the current president and his mentor, the previous president, the upcoming president, and other past presidents and their mentors of several years back. The group is helpful to each other, and the results of the work of the group meeting together helps this club move forward. So we are here today in his memory, and we do owe him a lot for all the things that he taught us. The year that I was president, I asked Bob if the club could have an award for an up-and-coming Rotarian in his name each year. And he thought about it for quite a while. Initially, he said no. And then he came back to me and he said that we could, if the award helped the person that the club recognized as a future leader to learn more about Rotary in some way, someone who would ultimately be interested in serving as president of the club at some point. He always felt that the person could best learn the impact of Rotary after attending an international conference and experiencing the effect of seeing thousands of people coming together to celebrate the service of Rotary all over the world. I'm pleased to say that the winner of the Hanson Award does get a trip to the international conference paid for by the club to enable the person to understand the vast effects of Rotary in the world overall, because after all, Rotary is bigger than our local communities. So the qualifications for this prestigious award are that the recipient exemplifies the Rotary four-way test, and he wrote these, by the way, in his or her personal, professional, and Rotary life. The recipient has positively affected the major objectives of the club's strategic plan through committee work, fundraising, or fellowship. The person selected has served in the club for at least 3 years and is someone we see as serving as the future president of the club. You ready? Past presidents, current president, and president-elects are not eligible for this award. So in your folder, I'd like to call to your attention the list of the former Hanson Award winners. We started in 2002 with Andy Reebok, and you can see the last one was Ellen Brown, and I commend all of these people who won. I know Ellen is here today. I don't know, is Andy here today? No. So James Good is here, I know. Let's see. Beth Mehmet is here. Andy Hetrick is here. Would you stand as I call your names? Larry Means, I didn't see him. Steve Feinauer is here. Betty Hungerford, as you know, is not here with us. She's in Homeland right now. Gib Parthmore is here. Where did I see Gib? Stand up, Gib. Una Martone, Bob Celine is not here. Our dear late John Judson, Karen Snyder, Marie Levan Lick, and Dolores Liptak. So let's give these folks all a round of applause. I can assure you, all of these people are people who have really done great things in Rotary. So we thank all of you for everything you've done and what you will do, and Ellen. So now I am very pleased to announce the winner of the 2022 Robert D. Hanson Award, Wendell Hoover. Wendell certainly is an individual who deserves this award and meets the criteria of the award. His 5 years of service to the Rotary Club of Harrisburg is exemplary, and we're grateful to him for all he does on behalf of the Rotary Club of Harrisburg and offer you sincere congratulations. So will you please join me here? They're all happy. So today we have an award for you, which is a clock. And in the clock, it says presented to Wendell Hoover, 2022 Robert D. Hanson Rotary Excellence Award for exemplary leadership service and commitment to the Rotary Club of Harrisburg, May 2nd, 2022. And a certificate for you to do with whatever. So I'll give you the podium. Congratulations.
Janice, thanks so much for the introduction. I appreciate the kind words. I'd like to sincerely thank the selection committee, past presidents, fellow board members, and fellow Rotarians. I'd also like to recognize my guests that are here with me today. First, Christine Brill is here, and she is my assistant, and she keeps me on schedule, and she goes above and beyond the call of duty numerous times, and so I really appreciate you. Brent Shoemaker is next to her. Brent is a college friend of mine. We went to college at Messiah together. He, after college, he moved to Baltimore for 17 years. He's a small business owner. 5 years ago, he moved back to Harrisburg area, and he's now a member of my real estate team as a realtor. But he's more than that. He's also really a member of our family. He helps out with the kids a lot. So we really appreciate everything he does for us. And yeah, I can have them stand up too. Christine's right here. We'll have her stand up real quick. Brent is next. Very good. And I'm also honored to have some of my family here today. My parents are here. It's Nevin and Eileen. We'll have them stand real quick. They have been rock solid pillars in my life, and they've raised me in a loving Christian home, which I can't thank them enough. My parents are both small business owners. My father is part owner of a hardware store, Umbergers of Fontana, and he retires later this year after 52 years at the company. So give him a hand. My mother owns a flower store in downtown Annville, and at an early age, they, being small business owners, they encouraged me to go to work early. And I started working at my uncle's farm, dairy farm, at age 12. And all those years of working really instilled in me the hard work ethic. And it's been really useful my whole life. I also realized that working on a farm, I realized I didn't want to be a farmer because, back then I thought, well, they never get to take a day off. And little did I know that many years later, I'd be a realtor and also rarely get to take a day off. So, but growing up, I can remember my parents volunteering a lot, and especially at church. And I can always remember my dad doing things behind the scenes, things that go unnoticed, and but things that need to be done. So it just instilled in me to always be involved, and I appreciate that example he led with. This is also very similar to the Rotarians. We make our community better, a better place to live, and often it's behind the scenes type work. Also, my family is here, my beautiful family. We're going to have them stand up real quick. My wife, Brenda, it definitely keeps everything together on the home front. We have simultaneous activities happening all the time. Alexa and Mackenzie. Alexa is 10 and Mackenzie is 7. They are homeschooled, so there's many activities at home. They're also very into reining, and reining is a Western horse discipline. So they compete in numerous horse shows every year. We have love of animals in our household. So we currently have 3 horses, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and soon to be 10 chickens. Noah is our youngest. He is having a birthday later this week. He will be 6. And Noah loves all things trains. So we're gonna go to Strasbourg this weekend. In this room with so many experienced Rotarians, I feel like I'm really just getting started, having just celebrated my 6th anniversary. I was introduced to Rotary by a business colleague, and after being asked numerous times, I always thought I was too busy and just wouldn't fit into my schedule. But I'm so glad that I became involved. And I'd just like to highlight a few of my experiences over those years. When sometimes Mondays are a busy day and you're always busy and you're like, boy, do I really have time to go to Rotary today? But when you go, you always know you're going to be greeted by positive, friendly people. So it's always an enjoyable experience. And I really like the topics that we have. The topics, they're very thought-provoking. You never know if it's going to be someone local, like the Harrisburg mayor that we get to hear directly from, or international issues, international politics, human trafficking, COVID issues. So I really appreciate the topics also. I've been involved with numerous committees and projects. As a former neighbor of Peggy Grove, who I want to point out, she made sure that I was involved with Youth Exchange right from the very beginning. And I'm really glad that I have been. Several times I've brought my kids on the Youth Exchange walking tours, and they've really enjoyed that in downtown Harrisburg. The dictionary project is also rewarding to me, giving out dictionaries to 3rd grade students who are so grateful and thankful. It's really unbelievable how thankful they are. And hopefully we'll have dates soon this year. We're working on that diligently to try to get them scheduled. So if you ever have a chance to volunteer a little bit with us, it's a very short commitment, but it is very rewarding. I've also been a judge for the science award that we give out, which is sort of ironic because I have no science background, no science classes. But as Rotarians, I think a lot of times it's just being available. It's just being available to fill in when needed. So another example is the Central Fend Food Bank, which we were just there on Monday. And it's a monthly thing. And a lot of times it's some of the same people, but it's really nice to see people outside of a meeting. You get to know them a little bit better. And so I've really enjoyed that. As Rotarians, we're called to give of our time, but also of our resources. We've all been tremendously blessed. And the financial support that helps these local projects, sometimes it's local, and sometimes it's, the Rotary Foundation. So giving causes, with water project, with the eradication of polio, which we are 99% of the way on our way to accomplishing. But in summary, I just want to highlight the great work that we as Rotarians do in number 23 club in all of the world. But at the same time, I want to emphasize that there's so much more that we can do, not only to help our neighbors down the street, but also people on the other side of the globe. So again, I want to thank you again for the reward for the Robert D. Hanson Award. I appreciate it. Thank you.